Hello, everybody. All right. I am delighted to announce the QRI Psychedelic Replication contest. So, my God. So, this is something that Hunter proposed. I think it's fabulous. It's a wonderful idea. You can get significant cash prizes if you participate in these. The idea is let's try to create really high quality psychedelic replication artwork that will help, you know, provide new, meaningful, and non trivial, understanding of exotic states of consciousness. So essentially, we have three contests. We have, first of all, the replication contest, which is technical in nature. There are two kind of emphasis or focus for that contest. The first one is valence effects. So we would love it if you could replicate, what it feels like to have a peak LSD experience that is extremely blissful. In what ways does this bliss manifest, visually, experientially? Can you replicate that? Can you capture that? And the second one is geometric transformations. I mean, one of the things we're best known for is the work on hyperbolic geometry in connection to DMT. But I mean, essentially, geometry and symmetry, which are actually two sides of the same coin. You should look up geometry through the eyes of Felix Klein to see like in what way they're both the same thing in a way. Geometry and symmetry feature in so many psychedelic states of consciousness, exotic states of consciousness, in profound ways, right? Whether it is like regularity over time, or even things like mirror symmetry, rotational symmetries, when you look at a wall on DMT and it tessellates, But there's like much more interesting and exotic things too, like, 3D crystals and hyperbolic, foliations. There's a lot of fascinating things that can happen on these exotic states of consciousness. And we think those are very meaningful. Right now, how all of that is kind of cataloged on the internet, or for example, Psychonaut Wiki, would be something as symmetrical texture repetition. But even that is just very, very narrow, right? It tends to be something like, oh, let's, tessellate it with a square grid pattern or something like that. But actually, there's like 17, wallpaper symmetry grids. There's 17 ways of tessellating a plane, let alone a space, which is like 230, let alone hyperbolic spaces. And, then there are irregular geometries and all sorts of things. So we would love it if you could try to create like, accurate representations of the actual geometric transforms that goes on, for example, DMT on all of its various levels. So yeah, if you could work on that, that'd be fantastic. And for that particular contest, the technical psychedelic replication contest, we're offering $5,000 to the first prize, and then for the second and third, $500. In addition to that, we're also going to give you some magical creatures, the QRI line of scents. I can just like show you one, for example. Hey, these would be the Eau de Cologne Vide. So yeah, okay. So essentially, if you get a first prize, you're going to get, the full set, the actual, the full set, including some hedonium shockwave. Maybe that might be a bit of a motivation. If you get second prize, you will get kind of the state space version, which includes 5 of them. And if you get like the third prize, in addition to the $500, you will also get the basic package, which is like the 3 starter pack for the scents. The second contest is psychedelic cryptography. So also one of the things that, put us on the map is like back in the day in 2015 on Qualia Computing, there's an article about how to secretly communicate with people on LSD. And essentially, there's many tricks to do this, but one of them is playing with tracers. Our tracer tool, for example, you move your hand around on a psychedelic and you see kind of like lingering pictures. The rate of decay of qualia is a lot longer, longer tail. So you can use that in order to encode images that you can only decode if you're in the right state of consciousness. But we want to kind of like push the boundary here, push the envelope, see what people can come up with to legitimately, showcase the information processing advantages of these states of consciousness. So, I mean, essentially, yeah, like the way to win that, set of prizes, or the prizes there, is essentially making really compelling things that work. Actually, effective psychedelic cryptography methods. And yeah, essentially will be judged by a lot of people who are like really, really, really experienced in this domain. And that is going to be really fun. And then the third one, that one, the first price is $3,000. And then the other prices are the same as for the first one. Then the third contest is essentially like inspirational. It is like create a piece that showcases the connection between, consciousness and art in a, really, really kind of a, like wondrous way. I mean, you can read the criteria is a little bit broader, but essentially, yeah, like making something really wondrous, really beautiful and stunning and artistically well executed. The submissions essentially will go for a while until like May 17th. Well, this is not that long, so get to work. Essentially, we think like this might actually advance the science of consciousness in a significant way, especially number one, because if we can capture, kind of these like high valence effects or geometric transformation effects, I think like that will say, very meaningful things about how the visual cortex works and the computational role of consciousness. So I do very much encourage you to participate and take this seriously. Like some examples of things that you could do in this space are, for example, one of the things that happens on DMT is you have what's called the world sheet, which is kind of the depth map of your visual field. Well, that can become increasingly curved. And so like one of the things that you might want to visualize, for example, for the replication aspect of the contest would be kind of like a grid, that starts flat, it's a geometric regular grid, and you start adding nodes and edges into it, and that slowly changes its metric until it becomes kind of this like folded hyperbolic surface. And that happens on some transitions on DMT, let's say between like threshold effect and chrysanthemum effects. So if you can showcase that, in your art, okay, that is a like a technical, transparent visualization of the sort of phenomena that happens on psychedelics, that would earn you quite a few points. Other examples are things such as visualizing an annealing effect. I mean, it really seems to us that essentially the kind of like beneficial therapeutic benefit of psychedelics is, at least to a very significant part, due to a kind of like cross-frequency synchronization of vibrations in your phenomenology. And there's a build-up to it. It's not instantaneous. It's not like you take LSD and then you're like all completely synchronized in a state of meditative cessation or a jhana. No, it usually starts very chaotic, right? Like, and you start kind of like deconstructing pre-existing patterns, and it's only after a while where you have kind of these like deconstructed metronomes to resonating with each other and increasing their mutual surface area that they start to actually synchronize. And then there's like maybe a critical moment that would typically be described as a mystical experience where all of these metronomes are actually synchronized, and then you feel, oh my God, I'm pure consciousness, or I'm God, or something like that. From our technical standpoint, these would be an annealing effect. So if you could visualize that, that also will earn you a lot of points. So we have a bunch of other suggestions in the link. Essentially, I can't wait to see what all of you come up with. I think, the last contest, the first prize is $2,000. So anyway, significant cash prizes, and perfumes for all of you guys. All right, thank you so much, Infinite Bliss, and good luck on this contest. Ciao.